It's got a lot of lag on it. All right, welcome to another edition of Psoto Desperado Plays Games. I have 3 videos lined up. They're fairly short, and then I have a real long, almost 2-hour video. Well, not 2 hours or so, but that's mostly news and things like that I wanted to catch up on. My health has been in decline for quite some time. I can't do anything that I really wanted to do. I'm in pain most of the time, or discomfort of some sort. So, right now I'm relaxed and I'm trying not to go through it. But it just seems as though sometimes it happens regardless. Our best efforts. So, anyway. I'm going to go ahead and start the 3 videos and we'll just do them in sequence. It looks to be like this thing is just delayed recording, but it never been delayed recording before. It never had a problem recording anything I put up on here. Like when I put the start button, usually it started like within a couple of seconds. Now it's taking almost a minute. And it's just kind of weird. But anyway, thanks for watching. I'm going to go ahead and get something started. We got Scotty Kilmer. He's a car guy, mechanic. The economy just crashed and everything you work for means nothing, which is a good title. It's only 11 minutes. Here we go.
Rev up your engines! Well, with these tariffs and the stock market starting to fall down, Trump says, I'm not going to bend at all. And he's doubling down on the tariffs. He says, no, I'm not going to change my mind. And in the short run, this is going to go, and then in the long run, it's going to pay off. Now, nobody really knows, of course. One thing that I learned years ago, though, is don't throw good money after bad. Now, you see the stocks are sinking, right? A lot of people are suckered into, they got a stock investment, and they lose a bunch of money. And then they'll double down, they'll put more money in. Believe you me, don't chase with more losses. That's the typical gambler's instinct. Well, I'll just keep doubling down. Eventually I'm going to win, right? That doesn't always pay off, especially in the stock market. There's generally a pretty good reason why the stocks go down. And if you start buying them as they're going down, thinking they're going to come back up, hey, you might even bid for a really rude surprise. Let's say you're going to double down, right? Very soon, if you're on a big losing streak, you're going to need so much money. So a lot of this stuff, hey, it is basically riverboat gambling. And of course, they always say the same thing. The stock market was at record highs last month. Higher as ever been, right? Now it's down a little over 10%. So they call it a correction. How come when it goes up, it's those stocks booming, then when it goes down, oh, that's just a correction. With the tariffs making companies shaky, not knowing exactly what kind of plans they're going to have, well, we'll see what happens the next 6 months or a year. And then he said things like, he says, quote, we don't need anything they have. We buy a lot of oil from them, right? You know, these blanket statements, they don't cut the mustard. Maybe for bargaining chip, you could say this or that, but they all know we need things they have. They need things we have. Canada doesn't have the industrial structure that the United States have. And when I went to school up there, I noticed all the stuff, steel and stuff, most of it all came from the United States. Right? A lot of their stuff comes from the United States. They actually buy a lot more of our stuff than we do of theirs. Canada exported $593 billion Canadian money worth of goods to the U.S. in 2023. And they imported $484 billion worth of goods from us. We're buying more of their stuff than they're buying our stuff. We get all kinds of stuff from them, right? So actually a tariff would be a terrible thing against the Canadians, because we buy their stuff, it would get more expensive, and then they will get mad, and they won't buy our stuff, and we'll sell less stuff to them. I mean, the stuff gets complex, but on one level, it is pretty simple. We get a lot of stuff from them. Don't think that this is going to affect things. I don't think that magically this is going to be a bullet that's going to fix everything by saying, well, we don't need anything they have. Well, the Germans aren't doing too hot. BMW just posted a 37% drop in annual net profit. And they're warning that there is a subdued, in quotes, Chinese demand. Well, of course, BMWs are more or less luxury cars, right? And the Chinese are like, why should we buy this German crap? We got our own stuff we can buy. And that's what they're doing. Net profit, BMW went down 36.9% last year. And they're predicting that they think they'll have around a 5% net profit this year, 2025, compared to the 6.3% that they had last year. So it dropped, but they're saying it's probably going to drop even further. How can they blame it on the Chinese? Well, if you didn't know, China is now the #1 car market in the world. It used to be the United States, we're #2, now it's China. They buy a lot of cars, right? And I guess the Chinese are saying, we're not that impressed with this supposed German master technology. A lot of the German stuff, they're basically living on their laurels, just like Harley Davidson. The company's in deep trouble, but they got the Harley name, right? Well, the BMW name. Well, it doesn't mean what it used to. Of course, they're also blaming tariffs by the U.S. They said that'll affect us 1% of our net profit. They just make these things up as they go, right? Now, you might think, what difference does it really make? BMW, right? Rich car company. Well, worldwide, they actually sell somewhat smaller, more affordable cars, because last year, BMW delivered 2.45 million cars. That's a lot of cars, right? The Chinese are starting to not buy them. Other countries, the United States sales are down. So maybe the Germans need a radical shakeup. Well, I love this one. It shows that politicians are all in the same bed. Chuck Schumer announces that he's going to vote to keep the government open to avoid the shutdown. They got a picture of old Chuck smiling away. Right? He says, I don't really like this Republican bill, but it's better to do this than it is to shut the government down. Right? Well, it just shows that they're basically all a bunch of thieves together. Their backroom deals and the nonsense that they spout out. What always happens is the government borrows money. Then they run out of money. Making us pay even more taxes than we pay makes everyone mad. Instead of raising the taxes, they borrow money. Well, then the debt gets so high, they have no money left. So the government's bankrupt. So what do they always do at the last hour, the 11th hour? They say, well, we'll raise the debt ceiling, we'll borrow some more money. And then they act like they're making such a big deal about Schumer announces he's going to vote for this. You know they're always going to vote for it. Problem is, as some of these economists have just said recently, is, hey, there's only so much that they can borrow. And some countries will stop loaning it to you. It's just a matter of fact. You know? If they see, they got all this money and they're not paying us our interest back, hey, what do you think? People are going to keep loaning you money? And of course, like I said, they always play the game. Schumer says, well, this avoids a government shutdown. Right? And every year, sometimes twice a year, they do the same old thing. And of course, in the case of the Democrats, they want to blame it all on Trump. Here's exactly what Schumer said, which is absolutely hilarious. Schumer says, quote, it is deeply partisan. It doesn't address far too many of this country's needs, but I believe allowing Donald Trump to take even much more power in a government shutdown is a far worse option. So they're blaming the whole thing on Trump now because they all do deficit spending, right? They did the whole thing when Biden was president, the same thing, deficit spending. Oh, we'll raise the debt ceiling, borrow some more money. Well, eventually, it comes home to roost, and where's the money when they're going to get paid back? Well, hope doesn't work then. They want money out of the deal. Something, right? Well, if you're thinking about buying an electric car and you only want to do short trips, well, here's a guy who did just that. And he says, well, his car has a lot of quirks, but he doesn't drive it far. Okay. He bought a 2015 Fiat 500e. Now, he's only driven it 1,000 miles so far, so if you have a small car like that with a very limited range, you can get them dirt cheap, realize it's Italian, they're not the greatest made. But if you're not going that far, hey, I've had customers with them, and they use them for city urban cars. This is an old one. Now, it charges slow. So it takes a long time to charge it up, but if you're an urban thing, you're not driving far. Now, this guy's looking for a house. He's in an apartment house. It's kind of a pain charging it there. He can easily put in a level 2 charger. Charging it with a level 1 charger, even with that, it's going to take a long time. He admits his effective range in this thing is 50 miles. I did a thing a while back on a BMW, their early electric car, right? And I found out this thing basically had a range of about 65 miles left. One of the reasons the BMW original electric car was a massive failure. It just couldn't go far. Had a range extender with a 3-gallon tank that I could let it go another 90 miles, but yeah, what's the point, right? So now with the prices of electric cars dropping like a stone, maybe you could get a used one cheap and try it out, like this guy did. What the heck? It's not much of an investment. You can pick those piles of junk up for, $1,000, $1,500, $2,000. And what the heck? It's like for most people, maybe one monthly payment. Hey, maybe it's time. Everything's cheap. Maybe give a little thing like that a try. Hey, it's got a small battery, so it doesn't take as long to charge as a big battery does, even though it's got a slow charging rate. I mean, hey, when it's that cheap, even I'm tempted, Now, if you're thinking about getting a hybrid car, a lot of people are driving hybrid cars now, right? But they're not all the same. In terms of price and quality, here are some really good ones. For example, the 2025 Toyota Corolla Hybrid starts at only $23,825. The average car in the United States is about $46,000. And this is a lot better than the average car. It's going to last a long time, right? Phenomenal gas mileage. Now, another one that's affordable is the 2025 Ford Maverick Hybrid. It starts at $27,500. Now, the one thing that I don't like about it is it's made in Mexico. And they've had some quality problems, right? Ford has to fix them. But if you want a little truck that can get great gas mileage, what the heck? Some of these big Ford trucks are $81,000, $91,000. This thing's only $27,500. And of course, rounding out the list is the classic 2025 Toyota Prius. They start at $28,350. They get phenomenal gas mileage. They can last 400,000 miles, and they're not that expensive. See, here's the difference between well-built hybrids and EVs. EVs are super expensive today. The batteries cost a bunch, and then you got range anxiety and all this. The hybrids aren't. Now, you can get super expensive hybrids. You can get a Lexus race car hybrid if you'll spend that kind of money. But for the rest of us, these are pretty decent vehicles that you're going to get phenomenal gas mileage, and they're still well below the average price of like $46,000 for a new car. Well, people are under the illusion that cars are getting safer and safer and safer, but only 2 of America's 10 best-selling vehicles earned the IIHS Safety Award. Only 2 of them. It doesn't include the Ford F-150, the Chevy Silverado, or even the Toyota RAV4. Only 2 of the top best-selling vehicles in the United States were included in these top safeties, which are the Toyota Camry and the Honda Civic. Interesting. It's a very technical study where they smash the cars in certain ways and they only give the highest ratings to the ones that are... They don't mean the car itself. The car itself smashed up and is useless. It's destroyed. They're talking about the people inside don't get injured or killed. And only the Toyota Camry and the Honda Civic earned the awards. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.
I got a mutation in Melee, but I think I got extra mutations. I personally don't like to have the extra mutations. I just want that one mutation. I take a double mutation, but I just don't prefer having all those miscellaneous things hanging on there. It throws off the stats. I may consider keeping it. I don't know, but it's an odd thing. It's like it went up in mutations, but it didn't go up in levels properly. So it could be some sort of error. And you don't want to mess with those errors. All right. Yeah, I disagree about the tariffs. I'm willing to give it a try. He thinks that Trump is talking about very specific things when it comes to tariffs. And I'm just going to let him play the game. I think Canada has been mooching off of us for years. Kind of the whole point of the tariff is that they have been charging us, but we have not been charging them. When we start getting money out of it, we start getting money back, then things are going to get better. Okay. There we go. Sounds like there's a big dino out there. I'm going to have to disagree with him on that. I don't know about the car stuff. Car stuff usually is on point. But the tariffs, that's the way tariffs are being used to bring those people to the table to get them to make deals and come to agreements. It's just a way of giving people motivation to start off the negotiation process. That's really all it is. It's if it does fix the economy the way Trump says it will, we're talking about something that may not manifest for a couple of years, maybe. But I'm no financial expert. Just a dick with an opinion, right? Sounds like something's out there. All right, let's see. See, we could do the next video here. This is living in a van is now a desirable lifestyle choice. This is Jack Morgan, Red Letter Podcast 2.0.
Almost funny. Started off nicely. Back in '93 on the SNL, Chris Farley was like, "You'd be living in a van down by the river, and otherwise you'd be a loser." But now, and today, it goes, if you could save up $45K, maybe one day you could live in a van down by the river. So that's how popular it's going. We're going to dive deep here. But this is a dude, these are like classic influencers, you know, in an old school kind of how much they're paying a month here. But they went the old school route, which is probably what most of us can afford unless you want to get the loan, which would still probably be a lot cheaper than an apartment. But, you know, it looks pretty fun. Like, it looks like they're making a career. Like, you can make a career out of van life. And people are doing this. So these two, dude, a couple living in this tiny car, it's a bit much. But for two people, $1,100 a month, not too bad. It sounds pretty. Like, obviously, they're showing us kind of the fun shit. I'm sure there's moments where,
oh man, it sucks,
two people
man.
snuggled up in this car. You
Jesus.
could probably like, scoot over.
Even if you have a full-size van.
Let's get deep here. I checked out some vans.
That just gives you more wiggle room.
I went for the more affordable vans on this just to get us some pricing here. But even some of these older vans, it's got so popular that, you know, the price gouging, which can't really blame them. It's a hot deal. People need accommodations to sleep indoors aside from a tent. But you got a 2002 Ford for $30,000. Okay, you got a 1993, all right, vintage for $25,000. Okay, and these are all pre-done conversion vans, like already ready for you to buy them and live in them. 35 Gs for a 2018. This one right here was probably the best bet I've seen so far. $3,700 for a 2003. Now, I don't think that one's gutted out, and you're probably going to have some engine issues, but, you know, there is possibilities out here to get like a $10,000 one. But a lot of these, man, 36 Gs. I mean, this is like a full-blown career for people. This is a website that literally is for van life. $31,000 for a 2018. $10,000 for a Ford Econoline, not bad. $22,000 for a 2023. This one's got like a roof rack and shit on it, dude.
The $10,000
sunbathing kit. You
Ford
got a little
Econovan's
honey
probably got
dip,
problems.
sunbathing on the top. Just to get us some ideas. We're going to jump into the RV stuff too, but a lot of them are super expensive. I mean, look at this, dude. 2002 Volkswagen, but look at the popper tent on it. I get it is appealing. It really is. Oh, look at this one, though, before we go. This one's like Mother Nature going on. This is like decked out. But $35,000. It's like a little house in there. It does look appealing. It really does. You got a kitchen, a stove. You got curtains. Look at curtains and shit. It's like a mini apartment. And it's going to be way cheaper than what we're paying.
Completely different for everybody, but it will give you a general idea. Our camper is a 2024 and we bought it brand new. Our monthly loan payment is $800 a month. Then you're going to have your lot rent. Our lot rent is $800 a month, and that includes our water and, of course, all the RV park amenities, which we have a pool, a fitness center, and a game room. For our electric, we pay $140 a month. Keep in mind, we have residential appliances, 3 AC units, and 3 kids. For RV insurance, which you have to have, we pay $120 a month for full coverage. For propane for heat and cooking, we pay around $40 to $50 a month in Texas. For internet and Wi-Fi, we pay $100 a month. For streaming services such as Prime Video, Paramount, Disney Plus, etc., we pay $30 a month. For basic maintenance and upkeep, we pay an average of $100 to $150 a month. For groceries as a family of 5, we pay about $200 a week. In total, that brings us to about $2,900 a month.
All right. Wow, that's actually still cheaper than a family of 5 living in a regular home. But that's a bit extreme. All right, but that's why, like, for me, like, I lived in a car. Not by choice. It was just like I had to for a bit. It was only a 3-month journey. I don't recommend the car. Although a lot of people are saying stuff it. They're doing the car. It's the cheapest route, let's be honest. It really is. Okay, because we're seeing some of these prices, and we'll go over some prices on the RVs coming up. But me and my dad, like 10 years ago, I said, because I had to take care of him at the time. He was broke, and he had really bad dementia. So I said, how can I keep paying for all this? You know, you're 25 going, how do I make it? And we went and looked at RVs. But it turns out they're super fucking expensive. Like the lot rent, even back 10 years ago, was $600. So now I was doing some research, like $800, Some places 1,000, sometimes $500 for the lot rent. So it seems like van life is still the more kind of. But if you're gonna do it long term, it's kind of like you need a little room to wiggle around. Anyways, let's get back here. This guy's bitching about trailer parks, which I've also got my dad a trailer. I'll talk about that right after this.
I got a bone to pick with y'all, bro. So right here, this is called a fucking trailer park. This is where the cheap motherfuckers supposed to live. This is supposed to be a cheap option for us broke motherfuckers. But here is the problem. They charging $1,200 to live in a fucking mobile home trailer park, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And that shit don't make no fucking sense.
Insane. Actually, true story. In 2009, I was 19. My parents, we lost our house. My mom was okay. They had split up. But my dad, he comes to me as a 19-year-old, says, hey, I got to be level with you. I'm broke. And I need $2,200. No, actually, I think it was $1,900. And I was like, what? You know, I'm 19. I think I had like $5,000 to my name, which back then I was rich. $5,000? Loaded. Hood rich Ricky. Ballin'. But he wants like half my money, you know? And I'm like, what for? And he's like, well, I found this trailer park community. And I was like, no. But get this, ready? 2010, give or take, $500 a month on the intercoastal in the ocean in South Florida. $500 a month. Yeah. Guess the price nowadays. Yeah, guess the price. I'll give you a little comparison. This is in the full-blown ghetto in South Florida here, in Riviera Beach. They want $833 to own, which is actually a pretty good deal. Or you could buy it for $25,000. But this is in the full-blown hood. It's still $833. Remember what I said. $500 on the intercoastal. Nice neighborhood. Ocean front property.
I didn't see that. Oh.
Okay? But that's what it used to be. He was actually in another trailer, too, that looked just like this place. A piece of shit. Okay? Like, they're not the best. This one's actually pretty nice compared to what my dad lived in. The second one he lived in, $300 a month. I know. That same place, probably $1,000, $1,500. Hold on, let's go to another one. Let's go to something more realistic other than living in the ghetto. Look at this one. This is a mobile home. $2,400 a month. It's got an island and shit, though. It looks pretty nice. It's Palm Beach Gardens, pretty ritzy area. But look, like, that one's actually nice. But, dude, $2,300. I'd rather live in an RV. Honestly. I rather would. Like, if I didn't own this house, I inherited this house, still a mortgage on it, like, we would be paying so much more money. But anyways, let's go back here. Let's bring it back to the 1950s. This was funny right here. Billboard in Arizona in the 1950s was $9,800, $10,000 for a home with a swimming pool. I know.
There's a billboard in Arizona in the 1950s showing that you can get your own home with a swimming pool for $9,800 on West Indian School Road. Hard enough and found the neighborhood here. $534K.
Oh man, this is great.
Here's the front of it.
$500,000.
It's now $534. But if you adjusted the $9,800 for inflation, that should only be about $116K. And this is it, 1954 when it was built.
Dude, this guy did his homework. It's fucking awesome.
Damn. See, the thing is, most people are in survival mode. People that don't have anybody. Like, I got lucky because I still have my connection to God. And like I said before, when I prayed and I said I didn't have enough money to survive, the Lord started changing the numbers for me. I got a little raise. I got some overtime. I still got some overtime. You know, the rent went down to $925 from $1,200 because it was over. It was too much anyway. And, you know, the Lord knows I want to take care of my babies, and they need a good, stable home. You know, my little furry babies. I don't have relationships anymore like I used to, so I don't worry about women or any of that stuff. I just don't. What I worry about is making sure that the bills are paid on time, you know, and that's it. I don't really worry about anything else. Most other things take care of themselves in time. Oh man, yeah, I think the one that I got the mutation's all out of whack. I think there's like a triple. I think it's a triple mutation, but it's not. It's just not recorded correctly. Somehow it's off. So I don't like it. I might kill that female and just disregard it. Anyway, it's supposed to be 490, but but it's got extra 3 mutations on there, which doesn't make any sense to me. There we go. Yeah, man. I lived in a vehicle for a week by force. And even with my best adaptation, I was burning up when it was hot at night. When the storm came, all my cats were all wet outside the apartment because we got kicked out. And even though I had shelter, I was in a, those metal parking covers that they make. They make metal parking covers for certain parking spots at the apartment complexes that are just pure metal, and like this thing had a brick wall on one side going all the way up to the roof, which has a solid metal roof, and I still got water inside my vehicle from the rain and everything that was going through. I still got water in my vehicle. Despite that extra protection, which did help, I still got water in my vehicle. I still got a shitload of... Between the wind and the water, it just blew right in there. So there's no real 100% protection when you're in a van like that. It's just you're vulnerable to the elements, is what I'm trying to say. Even with your best thing. So you have to understand that even though, if people are doing that because they have to, or because by nature they go from place to place and they travel, or their work makes them travel so much to remote areas to do surveys or whatever, that they might as well go right ahead and just live out of the vehicle. Doesn't make sense to pay all that money for living in an apartment when you're running around doing a job across the country. You're doing jobs across the country. Why would you live in one stable home? If you could just live in a vehicle, take everything you need with you, and just do the minimal. Do a minimalist kind of kit where you just have the minimum stuff you need, minimum clothes, minimum resources. You enjoy your life, but you just don't stack a lot of material things, and you stick it all in a truck or a van or SUV or whatever it is you're living out of. If your job demands you move around and you make money that way, then you can actually travel the country, do your job, and be pretty happy, as long as you don't have like 7 fucking cats, like somebody I know. As long as you don't have 7 cats and a bunch of raccoons out there to try to get scraps, then you're fine. Yeah. But anyway, for the most part, it really is a state of dishonor to have so many people living out of vehicles. It's very unsafe. Over there in Europe, they were, and here in the United States too, people were living out of their vehicle with kids, like 4 or 5 kids in a vehicle. Even if you have a schoolie, which is like a modified school bus, to make it into a habitation, it's still very dangerous to be out there. When I'm in my apartment, I have the protection of solid walls and I have a roof. You know, the when the rain hits, it doesn't hit directly over my head, so I don't hear a lot when it comes to water noise, so I can sleep usually okay. You know, but when you're in a van or any kind of an SUV, I have an SUV, you're going to hear that water real loud right above your head. It's hard to go to sleep with that. Even a tiny home, because it's so small, you're going to hear it. You're going to hear it when you try to go to sleep at night. All that loud noise from the storm. Yeah. In a regular home, you could probably snuggle somewhere in the house and not have to hear it so much because the roof is far away. You know, you have various layers between you and the impact. It impacts different on, like if you're in a vehicle, it's impacting metal. So it's going to go ding, 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 ding like that. But if you're in a house, it's going to impact the, you know, the roof shingles, which are really not that bad. They're not that loud. Man, this thing's really delayed. So anyway, if you do get into that sort of thing, just make sure that, I mean, what I would do, you know, honestly, now that I could look back, I would just get a yoga mat or two, get some pillows and blankets, configure your vehicle to sleep in by putting the front seat down, you know, put down the, if you have a SUV like I do, you put down the partition in the middle and you convert the seats, or you could even take the seats out. In some cases, you could remove the seats. And in mine, I can't do that. It's very permanent. But in some, you could remove them or put them into the floor. And you just make your own little setup there and test it out. Sleep outside without electricity, without air circulation. Leave the windows cracked. If it rains, just deal with it and see how you can adapt to it. And if it doesn't work out, you just go back into your house or your apartment. But you could try and see if you like that. But I wouldn't do it 1 week. I'd do it like a couple of weeks, you know. Yeah, you could still use the shower in your apartment and go get resources and stuff in your apartment. But, you know, test it out and see if you can live in a vehicle. If you're single, you don't have any pets, you could technically live in a vehicle if you do it stealthily, quietly, without anybody knowing. You don't make it obvious. Most people aren't going to know, and most people aren't going to care. You know, you have to be in a real ghetto, trashy area for anybody to even give a shit. Because ghetto people will fuck with you if they're bored or something. If you're white like me, they'll fuck with you. They don't care that if I'm half and half. They don't care. You know, they just look at my skin. They're going to go based on skin color just as hypocritically as everybody else. But anyway, you could test it out, challenge yourself, and then give it a fair evaluation. While I was living out of the vehicle, did I have fun? Was it easy? And you're going to find out it's like 3 times the work to live out of a vehicle. 3 times. I guarantee it. And there's not going to be a lot of wiggle room in there unless you have a full-size van. If you have an Econoline van like he was talking about, then shit, you're going to have so much space, it's not even funny. And you could do all kinds of things in there. You could have a freaking coffee maker in there. You could have a little mini fridge in there. You know. You could have all kinds of nice things. You can get yourself an electric blanket if it's cold. Get yourself a Jackery if you need electricity. You know. this is so weird because it's supposed to have 42 mutations, but it got 3 mutations. So it got, instead of getting 43 mutations, it got an extra 2 mutations in some other stat. 2 of these other stats went up. I'm not sure I want to keep this one. It does have the melee mutation that I wanted, but it has 2 others that I don't need. So I'm like, shit. Anyway, let's go ahead. Let's start the next video real quick before I put down the eggs. Now this guy is Jeremiah Babe, and the video is "What the fuck? Trump smacked in the face. Another Secret Service failure, saving astronauts." Here we go.
It's Saturday, March 15th, 2025. A lot to talk about today. So much happening. Real quick, let's make sure we're saying a prayer for the people down south. These monster storms hitting the southern part of the United States of America. At least 17 people have lost their lives. We've got tornadoes. We've got wildfires. Just incredible what's going on. Tornadoes ripping through Missouri. It's another reason to make sure that you have a plan. Maybe you have some bug out bags, extra food and water, security. You may have to get up and move really, really quick. And so having a bug out bag or 2 or 3 might be something to think about. I think we can all really improve our emergency preparations. I know I can. And when I read stories like this, it's a reminder that we have to do better. We have to be more prepared because you just never know what tomorrow brings. A storm, a financial collapse, an earthquake, man-made disasters, natural disasters, wildfires, all this. So much is happening. So I think we could all prepare a little bit better. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. But just make sure you say a prayer for these people. Some people have lost everything. A story here that I was watching today. Another Secret Service fail. Friday night, before President Trump got on Air Force One, he was talking to the media on his way to Palm Beach. And he's right now the first president ever to be smacked in the face by a boom mic. This has never happened before. And I was watching the video. You can Google it. He got hit in the face with a boom mic last night. First time ever it happened to any president. The reporter has not been named. Another question is, since she has been named, the next question is, where's the microphone? Why was the microphone not confiscated? We don't know if there could have been some type of material, some deadly toxins that could have been on the mic. I don't think that's the case. It's probably more than likely just an accident. But this is absolutely unacceptable and unforgivable that somebody was able to touch the president with a microphone. What do you think about this? Do you find this a little bit odd? I think it's extremely dangerous. There's so many, chemicals and toxins out there that you could put on this microphone and just have to touch the president. And this thing hit him in the face. So, again, the Secret Service has dropped the ball again. This president is not safe yet again. Comment down below. I want to know your thoughts on this. Did you see the video? If you haven't, Google this video, look for it, find it. When this happened, the president, I could tell, was extremely PO'd. Extremely PO'd. We don't know her name. Microphone not confiscated. We don't know if anything was on it. And we know that this has never happened before. How could this happen? This president is probably one of the most loved human beings and one of the most hated human beings. This president, no doubt, has more enemies than any president in the United States has ever had. This president. And people are still able to touch him. I don't know. good. Dollar General closing over 100 stores in the coming weeks. Now, this is just a small percentage. They have a lot of stores. But I bring it up because you're going to continue to see more businesses, corporate America, small businesses, large businesses continue to downsize, trim the fat. And again, this is just a small percentile of the stores that Dollar General has, but it's going to be, probably well over 1,000 people losing their jobs, maybe a couple thousand people with these stores closing. So it is another reflection that the economy is in trouble, and it's going to be in trouble for a while as things get sorted out and corrected. United States Postal Service agrees to work with Doge, plans to cut 10,000 workers. This is going to take place in the next 30 days through a voluntary early retirement program. So we're going to continue to see massive layoffs here in the United States of America. And you're going to not just watch corporations trim the fat, you're going to see the entire country now have to trim the fat. A lot of these jobs are not needed. A lot of these federal jobs were non-essential. And it is time now that we, run America like a corporation, like a well-oiled machine. We cannot continue to waste money on jobs that don't matter. And, if you're a federal worker, I feel bad, but we as a taxpayer can no longer afford to pay for jobs that are non-essential, jobs that don't produce anything, don't manufacture anything. We're not getting a return on our tax dollars. The United States government was never intended to be the largest employer in the United States, period.
Yeah,
it has to come to an end. And this is why we need to see more energy going to the private sector. We need to see more tax incentives to the private sector. We need to encourage more private businesses. CNN, Starbucks ordered to pay $50 million to delivery driver burnt by hot beverage. A jury in California ordered Starbucks to pay $30 million in damages to a delivery driver who was severely burned by an improperly secured lid. This is another problem with California and really the United States judicial system, that somebody's going to get $50 million. I think it was back in 1994, the McDonald's hot coffee story. I think that individual got $3 million. Now we're up to $50 million. Michael Garcia was picking up drinks at a drive-thru in Los Angeles when he suffered severe burns to his genitals. This is going to be appealed by Starbucks, but they're going to end up paying a boatload of money to this guy. The court system is such an embarrassment. California is such an embarrassment. I mean, a jury actually thought that this guy should be rewarded $50 million because the lid on his coffee wasn't secured enough. I don't even know how you prove it. How do we know he didn't unsecure the lid? It's just shocking to read the embarrassing stories that come out of our courts here in America and how we reward people with these sums of money. And, you look at Starbucks, and I'm no fan of Starbucks. Haven't been to one in many, many years. I've probably been to Starbucks 3 times in my entire life. I will never, ever go to one now. I don't agree with their policies or their political beliefs. And so I just believe in putting my money, if I'm going to get a coffee somewhere, typically it's 99% right here at the house. But if I'm out and about or traveling, I'm going to get a coffee, I'll go to Dutch Brothers or some, small, coffee company, some small barista. I won't give my money to Starbucks. But, Starbucks just believed in all these crazy politics. And now the crazy politics are hitting Starbucks for $50 million. Comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Do you still go to Starbucks? I don't. And really, if you really care about where your money's going, what you're supporting, stop going to movies. Stop supporting Hollywood. Stop supporting these sports teams, these sporting organizations. Stop supporting the Starbucks. Spend your money with people who are like-minded and believe in what you believe in. Stop spending time and money with these organizations who are going to take a fraction of that money and use it against you. Let your wallets begin to vote. J.D. Vance, businesses that invest in America will be rewarded. We're going to cut taxes, slash regulations, reduce cost of energy. Nearly $2 trillion in investments have come to America since the Trump return. You know, if you're a business owner, I think you have a little bit of hope. I think that there is no better chance of success than under this administration, because this administration is going to do whatever it can do. Don't know if it will be successful, but it's going to do whatever it can do to help business owners, to get business to America, small, medium, and large. If you are a business owner, I hope you're supporting this administration, because if you're not, what you get next could be the end of you. If this does not succeed, if we do not succeed under this administration, I think America is doomed, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I think we have an administration that really, really cares about business, wants to bring things back to America, cares about business owners. Another thing, too, that we've been talking about, everybody's been talking about, is this tax cut for people making under $150,000 a year. Zero taxes. You implement slashing these regulations, reducing the cost of energy, business tax cuts, and people making under $150,000 paying no income tax. This is game changing. This can begin to really turn things around, and then getting businesses coming back to America. This is what it would take. You add revaluing gold and backing the dollar with gold on top of it, you could see a golden age here in America. And I'm not saying any of this is going to happen. I don't know. But just the talk of this is encouraging. If this stuff can be implemented, it will change America for the better. It will definitely supercharge the economy here in America. And it will be an incentive for business owners and people to work, to be successful. They're going to take that money, they're going to spend it right in the economy, and it could be absolutely an amazing era here in America. Don't know if it's going to happen right now. Everything is just talk. I understand that. But I think we should be supporting this. I think we should be praying for this. And I think that, you know, if you don't want accountability, if you don't want businesses to succeed, if you want American businesses over in Asia and you want them in Mexico and you don't want them here, then, you know, apparently your loyalty is not to America. And that's really disgusting, in my opinion. Who served time for murders, beatdowns? Now a New Jersey councilman here to redeem my whole life. John Elite. If you don't know John Elite, he used to work for the Gambino crime family. He was an enforcer, rough dude, very rough dude, no nonsense guy. He was actually Albanian. Now, he's not Italian. His parents or his grandparents, I don't remember, were from Albania, but quite a story. And here's a guy that now is a New Jersey councilman. This is how sick the typical American is of politicians, that they'd rather have a Gambino enforcer as their councilman. I mean, he's no longer in the mob, but a guy that was once an enforcer for the Gambino crime family, now a councilman. This is just how sick people are of politicians. They'd rather have somebody from the Gambino family who served many, many years in prison, no-nonsense guy. They trust this guy more. And you know what? I do too. I like John. I wish him nothing but the best. John, wish you nothing but success. I think this is a great way to redeem your life and do something really, really great. And I know that he loves this country. And John Ali is not a perfect human being. He did some really, really bad things. But that's between him and God. But, you know, maybe he's trying to make a difference here and give back a little bit now. And I think he's going to do a good job. I really do. And I wish John nothing but success and prosperity. Do a great job. And we'll see. We'll see if the voters were right. But this is just how sick and tired they are of the typical politician, that they'd rather have a retired Gambino enforcer in there doing the job because they trust him more. They know he'll do more. He'll take action. He'll get it done. And they trust him more. So pretty, just absolutely amazing when we're watching the news or reading some of these articles of what's happening. Comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Glorious broken MSNBC host needs time off because of Trump exhaustion. This is just so incredible what's happening. Lawrence O'Donnell whined to Rachel Maddow the other night that he's so exhausted from reporting on Trump that he needs to take some time off. Now, you would think like this guy's in Ukraine in a trench, fighting in a war, and he's just totally exhausted. No, he's exhausted from 52 days of this president being in office, and he's reporting on it. It's just too exhausting for Lawrence to do. What he doesn't realize is nobody's watching him and nobody cares. So if he leaves and takes his little vacation, it never comes back, nobody's going to even know because nobody even cares. Nobody cares. Comment down below. Now, shifting gears here a little bit. I watched the rocket launch yesterday, about, 4:15. So Elon Musk and his team are going after the stuck NASA astronauts. And I think they're going to be there tonight. And this is going to be interesting to watch, but I find it fascinating that there's so much hate for this man that, they're burning Teslas, they're, burning down dealerships, and yet the last administration, Sleepy Joe, just pretty much left these people, these astronauts, up in space. They were there for an 8-day trip, got stuck there for 9 months. Elon Musk reached out to Sleepy Joe and the administration. Can I help? You need me to get these people back? No. Don't worry about it. We don't need your help. So these people have just been up there floating around in space. So the guy that, these lunatics love to hate now is the guy that's going to go up and save these people. Apparently he's the only one that can go get them, so he's going to go get them. And I just find it astonishing that there's this much hate. So what's going to happen when he saves these people, brings them back to planet Earth because of his rockets, his technology, his team, and his brains? What are these people going to say about Elon Musk? Is he really that evil? I wonder what the astronauts are going to say when they first get back here and meet Elon Musk, the only guy that cared enough to go get these people back from outer space, while Sleepy Joe left them. And then these people that say Musk is just dumb, he's an idiot, he's just, this, that, really dumb. When you really look at what this guy's done, what he's developed, the business he started, it's unbelievable. And you have these people who really are dumb calling him dumb. But yet they haven't saved anybody. They haven't started a business. They've never written a paycheck for anybody. All they've done is leech off the system as a politician. They've never even had a job in their whole life. This guy has started multiple businesses, multiple inventions, and he's trying to do something good, and he's holding accountability in these federal departments because your money has been absolutely lit on fire, and nobody seemed to care except this administration and Elon Musk, who's actually fighting to save Medicare and Medicaid, Social Security. The only way these departments stay alive is if we cut out all of the fraud. And nobody seemed to care to cut the fraud out until this administration came in and Elon Musk started investigating all of this. And we're finding out, people 140 years old are getting Social Security checks, 350 years old getting Social Security checks, money for this experiment, money for that experiment. We're giving money to these countries. We're paying pensions in this country and that country. And it goes on and on and on. And anybody who doesn't want accountability where their money is, again, I don't know where your loyalty is. You must have so much money. You must have more money than Elon Musk that you don't even care where your money's going. But I'm here to tell you, I care about where my money's going. I really want to know, and I want accountability. And I think people who have wasted and have stolen money should be held accountable. They really should not just lose a job. They should be held accountable because you would. Man seen casually eating pieces of a rat in New York City. This is absolute insanity. I watched this today. You can Google this video. A lady dropped this on Instagram. She's filming it. She's filming this guy eating a rat. I mean, it's got a tail, it's got the fur, and he's picking it apart. And he's sitting there on a street, on a Bronx street, while this woman is filming. People walking by casually while this guy just, he eats part of the intestines. It's very graphic. And I'm watching this going, wow, the United States must be the envy of the world. This is what other countries, want to be. This is what other countries, want to obtain. The lifestyle we have here in America with people, homeless people on the streets eating rats. Unbelievable. Now, this gentleman may have been from another country where this might be acceptable, where this is the norm. I don't know. He might have been from another country. I don't know. But this ain't normal here. This is how plagues begin, ladies and gentlemen, when people are eating raw rodents on the streets, a sewer rat. Okay, this is how plagues begin. And this is what's happening daily in places like Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco. This kind of stuff is happening daily. We cannot continue to have a homeless crisis or a mental crisis, a mental health crisis in America, leaving people like this on the streets of America to fend for themselves when they cannot think for themselves. We're going to see plagues break out if we do not get this stuff under control. I've done multiple videos down in Skid Row. It's filthy, rats everywhere, filth, people using sidewalks as bathrooms, and sooner or later, something's going to break out. And this all could be prevented. But we send billions and trillions of dollars all over the world to pay for other countries' pensions, to pay for other people's mansions, to pay for other people's yachts, to pay for other people's wars. Yet we have people sitting on a sidewalk in New York eating a rat. Is this okay with you? Is this really the envy of the world? Is this what the world aspires to be? America? Homeless everywhere, drugs everywhere, people eating rats, graffiti everywhere, violent crime everywhere. Comment down below. I'm going to leave it there today. It's just shocking what is going on. And I really pray to God that this administration can turn things around. But let me reiterate, this mess is not going to be turned around this year. That's for sure. You don't turn, the Titanic around on a dime. You don't turn one of these massive ships around on a dime. It takes a while. And we're now just beginning to turn the wheel. The ship is not even turning yet. So much damage, so much debt, so much crime. It's going to be a while. I don't know if it's too late. I pray to God it isn't. But I like the ideas. I like what I'm hearing. But again, it's just talk. I'm waiting to see some action. We begin to see action with some of these ideas, especially taxes. We got to have something done with taxes. People are just overtaxed. We need to see something done with taxes for individuals and businesses. That's the start. If we begin to see something like that and energy prices come way down, I have hope. I'm going to be enthusiastic. There's optimism. Until then, I'm just watching this and praying just like all of you. I'm going to leave it there today. Have a good weekend. Be careful out there. God bless every one of you. Please like, share, and subscribe. And as usual, I look forward to speaking to each and every one of you very, very soon. Take care.
Wow. Well, the thing is, Trump is the only hope we have, and a lot of people know that. But a lot of people are the opposite. They believe that he's the anti-freaking Christ. And he has a lot of antichrist characteristics that a lot of people don't want to talk about. But I actually think that he's serious. I actually believe him. And I'm sad that all these things are happening, but there's nothing I could do. All I could do is work my little slave job, pay the little slave job rent, and hope for the best, It's just crazy right now. Everything is just absolutely insane. And the thing is, they keep talking like the country was meant to last forever. Nothing lasts forever on this planet. All kinds of things can go wrong. Yeah. I don't care about the microphone thing. You know, people get smacked in the face all the time with all kinds of things. So I don't see why that even is even relevant. But you know, whatever. Yeah, what I'm going to have to do is make a separate base on a different map and start mutating for health to try to increase the health of the dino. Right now, my mutations over here seem to be stagnant. I don't know if I'm going to use that female. I might just kill that female because it's got unusual mutations on there. But I don't know. We'll see. Okay. One more gate. So I'm making 25 gates to put around to secure an area. And then once I secure that area and I put some foundations down, I can claim that area. I'm going to go scouting around the other servers or the other maps and see what I can do with that. This time I'm going to try to get someplace close to one of the obbies so I can transport readily. It just takes too long to do it otherwise. Okay. So that's ready for next time. Let me get the bird back over here. Looks like I didn't get the mutation I wanted. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the videos. I'll put the video links in the description. You have a good night. Hope you all have good lives. If you're healthy and you have energy and you can run around and do things all day, be grateful because there'll come a day where you're either too sick or too old to do these things and you have to pace yourself. And you're like going at 1/5 the speed that you normally would. Trust me, appreciate it when you can and while you got it. Well, anyway, thanks for watching and take care.